Hello and welcome everybody. I'm Rose Smith from AbsoluteSoulSecrets.com. Thanks for joining me for the terrific Taurus 2023 horoscope. Well, we're all going to get a bit of a boost this year. Pluto is moving into Aquarius, which will be quite different from the harder, more physical energies of Capricorn. Hear my chickens out there, they're laying eggs. And also Saturn is moving into Pisces. Saturn's really not quite at home in Pisces, but it is a bit of a lift. You know, it sort of encourages us to go more with the flow of our emotions. It's just a generally, better year. Things are trending up overall. Let's see what the cards and the horoscope has to say. Okay, so I'm going to draw some cards for you. And by the way, if you are new, subscribe and be alive and hit that notification bell as well. Alrighty, so 2 cards could be for the first half of the year and the second half of the year if you choose, or you might want to take them both together. Okay, so looking at the first card. I'll close my eyes now. In spirit here, I'm seeing a lot of butterflies. This implies there's new growth, new life, a new cycle about to begin. How appropriate, because it's for the new year. The card that comes up is a new cycle of energy, the Ace of Wands. Spirit is literally handing you a gift of motivation and inspiration, and you'll see here a lot of growth coming from these green leaves and some action to be taken. There's also a lot of green little buds that you may not see on your monitor there. It's quite a, there's a lot of sort of cloud and confusion in the background here, and some hills which can, sort of say that it is a bit of a challenge basically. But there's a lot of spiritual strength here, the seed of inspiration and the seed of creation being handed to you. So that's a fabulous way to start 2023 for you, terrific Taurus. Now let's have a look. Oh, that one. Well, 2 have come out without me even closing my eyes. So this one here, the 4 of Cups. You may have some memories come back from previous relationships. Perhaps you're going over them in your mind and wondering how it got to the state that it got to, or the stage that it got to. And again, it's about your emotions and spirit handing you a gift. But here's the butterflies here around her head. So I didn't have to close my eyes because I saw the butterflies in the first vision. So there's lots of little butterflies here. So that suggests to me that there's lots of little creative projects that bring new life and a new cycle to you. And then we have the Page of Cups, also about your emotions, with the fish in the cup here. So these are messages from your subconscious. And you'll see she's wearing this sort of darker blue, and here on her skirt with some mauve, and then this sort of brighter blue top. So it's the indigo of the third eye this is referring to, and the chakra here, putting your message out into the world in the throat chakra. So your messaging, your languaging, and what you have to say. Okay, so it's like almost like the third eye is activating the throat chakra, okay, with messages from your subconscious coming up. And this one's underneath, so this might be your personal business, this might be more the public side of your life in 2023. Okay, let's see how these cards play out as we go through your horoscope. Oh, just dropped my notes, that's okay. I'm just going to make this a bit bigger so that you can see what's going on this year. Okay, so the first thing I want to point out to you is that we have this is supposed to be a triangle. I don't know, it got mucked up a bit, but it's a small triangle. So it's two semisextiles and a sextile. It's called an eagle eye pattern, and the focal point is here in your 10th house of career. And it's also your reputation. It's the most public area of your life, which is appropriate with these cards. This card here, the Page of Cups, which is about receiving messages, and it's somehow going to be expressed in the most public area of your life. Remember, I was saying public and personal. And so this triangle brings a lot of intuition. It brings creation. It brings the ability to look at things and understand what is really going on deeper than just the surface. What the surface looks like, you don't take that as being just so. The other interesting thing is to notice, as I mentioned before, Pluto going into Aquarius. This is going to very strongly affect your career and your reputation. So in mid-2023, and I've just forgotten the dates, I think it's April to June, which of course my book of notes has fallen over. Let me just have a look here. 23rd of March, Pluto ingresses into Aquarius. Okay, so up until June. So this is almost going to add to this energy here. The focal point is actually Saturn. It's Saturn and then Neptune and Mercury that are involved, but Pluto moving into here will also bring some sort of penetrative type of energy where you're not just satisfied with what appears on the surface. It's like you'll want to know exactly what's going on, okay? And it's going to be really fabulous for you, especially if you're in the spiritual in the spiritual industry, I'm trying to say. The other thing to note is Jupiter and Chiron here in your 12th house. It is likely, it's in Aries, so it's quite spontaneous. That's likely to bring a big increase in energy around your subconscious and these messages, going back to the messages in the cup here. Chiron is all about healing, so your subconscious is being healed. And sometimes for that to happen, you have to become aware of it in some respect. And so there might be a bit of a sort of a shake-up or some sort of transformation going on deep down in your subconscious, okay? That's the 24th of February to the 5th of March. They're conjunct and they're working together. So this great expansive healing energy is going to be going on down underneath. If you are in the spiritual industry, you'll probably feel it. You'll become aware that there's all these things coming up, perhaps about previous relationships from the past. Remember this card, there's a very spiritual connection here going on, and it was probably a love relationship with this red rose. There's a lot of growth that is coming out of this. You can see she's wearing green there. And the gold skirt is also about the solar plexus and accomplishing things in the physical world. Sometimes this brings up patterns of energy around your father, whether your father was absent or he didn't do enough to help you or to teach you how to complete things especially. Okay, so that's worth bearing in mind. The planet Saturn going into Pisces from the 7th of March to the 24th of May 2025. So it's going to be in there 2 years and 2 months. And it's going to go from your career house into your friends, groups and associations house. And it's also your hopes and dreams. So there could be some sort of limitation, but you may impose that limitation on yourself. So to give you an example, you may decide that you want to put more structure around your friendships. Maybe you just don't want people calling you up at any time. or showing up at your doorstep. And so you'll probably say to them, look, this is a great time to call me, and try to get people that do that to confine their calls to those times so that you're not interrupted at other times. So there could be some limitation or restriction. Maybe you don't feel like going out with people and you'd rather stay home, especially if you're in a COVID hotspot, for example. People are definitely not going out as much. And so it can be self-imposed restriction. But in Pisces, it's not as hard and fast as what it could be if it was in, say, Capricorn, where there would just be a blanket no and there would be no way around it. This is a bit more flexible, and it's important that you go with the flow. Yeah, sometimes, it doesn't feel that great, but you can still go about your life and you can still achieve things, go round it. Basically, it's basically saying there's some sort of restriction, but you can go around it. Okay, and that's with your hopes and dreams. Maybe you need to modify your hopes and dreams in some respect as well. Now, Pluto going into Aquarius will be the 23rd of March until the 11th of June. Okay, that was the date I was looking for, 11th of June. It'll pop into Aquarius, then it's going to pop back into Capricorn for a while. And let me see if I can tell you. I think it's January next year. Then it goes into Aquarius full time until 2044. So 20 years it's going to be there. This is all about bringing more power to your work, more power to your reputation. It also brings birth, death and rebirth. So you may find yourself giving up some sort of career and going back to a career that you did many years ago, for example, and there's a rebirth. Or you could incorporate those elements in your current career. So, if you're a psychic, you still can continue to be a psychic, but you might decide to go to selling products as well. You might increase the lines of, passive income or active income, going back to, some harking from the past, basically. Then we have Jupiter going into Taurus, which is here. So it's here in your 12th house, expanding, as I was saying before, with this energy of Chiron. And there's also a solar eclipse that I'll talk about as well. But around the 16th of May, it then goes into your sign, which is fabulous for you because it's a big increase in your energy generally and the way you portray that energy to the outside world. And there's a lot going on in there. You can see the North Node. We start with the moon there at the beginning of the year, which is sort of a bit of a template. Uranus, they're all conjunct, the North Node, the moon and Uranus. And then we have a solar eclipse in there as well. So this year, in 2023, there's going to be a big increase in the statements and the messages that go out into the world, in the way that you portray yourself and how other people see you. And so that's really good news. And that will be, yes, the 16th of May. May 10th, Pluto is back into Capricorn, and then 2024, okay, back into Aquarius. I mentioned that. October 14th is solar eclipse. I'll come to that in a minute. Now, the other thing I should have mentioned before was that when we start the year, we're starting the year with a lot of planets and points that are retrograde. So the North and the South Node are retrograde. We have Mercury, we have Uranus, and we have Mars all retrograde to start the year. So it could feel like a quieter year than usual. You might be very self-reflective when the year starts, but as they start to turn direct, which in Mercury's case, it's the 18th of January. In Mars's case, it's the 12th of January, and Uranus is the 23rd of January. As they start to turn direct, you'll get more and more energy. There are shadow periods as well on those, so it's like the energy just doesn't cut off like a switch. It just gradually gets more and more, so that you feel more active, and especially with Mars, you could have a lot more vitality coming in. And with because it's in your second house there in Gemini, you could be very active about putting your ideas and your communications out into the world in order to make money. It could be a way to improve your financial position when Mars turns direct. So combine that with Mercury, and that's your communications and ideas, and they have a real physical consequence because they're in Capricorn here. And then we have Uranus in Taurus, bringing more physical consequences, but they could be very unpredictable and out of the box, innovative. They could involve technology or lightning or electricity. And they could be unpredictable and volatile, and perhaps even rebellious. You might feel rebellious because people may be telling you not to do that, or you might get subtle signs that your friends or your family don't like it. So go with your heart. I have experienced that so much in my lifetime, that you just have to go with what you think is best. And, you know, if people want to tell you stuff, that's fine. You don't have to take it on board. You can just listen politely and say that's nice or something. Placate them in some way, but all the time doing what you're meant to do. You know, I don't think there's point in arguing about these things. Tried that when I was young. It doesn't work. A lot of time people are fixated on their ideas, and they're really not interested in your welfare. That's just their opinion. They'd rather be right than have friends or whatever the case may be. So I do say to you, follow your heart in all cases, okay? And even when you're listening to me, you know, not everything will resonate. So don't just blindly accept it. There's too much blind acceptance of what other people say instead of looking deep down inside yourself, okay? That's the most important thing. Mercury retrograde is in earth signs this year, so that's going to bring some sort of groundedness and physical manifestations to your communications, basically. Now, I want to have a look at these eclipses. I've had to write them up there. Solar eclipse on the 20th of the 4th April in Aries, and that's going to bring a lot of new beginnings around your subconscious contents, okay? Remember this card, we talked about this card, Page of Cups, it's like a new cycle begins of energy, which is appropriate because it starts in the spiritual world first. It starts in your subconscious there somewhere, even if you don't pick it up. And then it becomes physical as the planets move into your first house here, and that's how you make your statement and how you get your energy out into the world. So new cycle starting there. Lunar eclipse on the 6th of May is in Scorpio, which is going to bring a bit of a shake-up to your important relationships. It could be a bit turbulent. We also have the South Node there at 10 degrees, and it's retrograde at the beginning of the year. And the nodes are usually retrograde for a long period of time, and it's quite normal. They probably spend nearly half the time retrograde, actually. And so with the lunar eclipse there's a bit of shake-up, and perhaps it revolves around things, your previous experience, things that you used to do. But it's like you want to change things around relationships and make them a bit more exciting or interesting, and that's where the turbulence might come, because if you're in a pre-existing relationship, your partner is used to you being in a certain way, and that's whether that's personal or business, okay? Both are affected. And so, yeah, you might want to change the ground rules of the relationship, or you might want more freedom, or you might want more commitment or something like that. So it's likely to bring up very deep and compelling feelings because it is in Scorpio, and secrets or something from the past could come up as well. Then we have a solar eclipse in Libra, and that's here on the 14th of October, and it's in your house of everyday work and habits and health and well-being. And so there's some new beginnings there. You might decide that you want to change your diet, you want to do some sort of healthy living, an new exercise regime, maybe do some yoga or something like that. In your work, it's a great time to start a new job, or to perhaps vary the work that you do in some way. So there's some new beginnings, some new elements in procedures or the way that you work. Maybe you change your hours or something like that. The lunar eclipse on the 28th of October is in Taurus, in your sign. And that's really, again, going to affect you, shake up what you believe and your core principles, basically, of who you are, because it's like you're being pushed to be more authentic about what you put out in the world, and who you are and how you share your beliefs and that sort of thing. So all in all, it's quite a interesting sort of year, and not a walk in the park. There's always pros and cons, but more sort of emphasis on getting the balance right between your feelings and also, the things that you manifest in your life, what happens physically. So I think overall as an improvement in society, although we still have some things like the Ukraine war that came out the other day in a video I did for World Predictions, so do check that out. So but personally, people are feeling a little bit more calmer, maybe some more contentment, and for you probably some more some sort of financial improvement as a result of all of this energy coming from your subconscious and then being expressed by you out into the world. Okay, so that's it. Terrific, Taurus. I hope this is helpful. Please leave a like and a comment. That would be fabulous. Share on your socials, and if you're new, subscribe and be alive. Thanks so much for listening. I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now. Thanks so much for watching. Please visit my website absolutesoulsecrets.com for all things spiritual. Have a lovely day.